Okay, so I just modeled some talking to the text for you of the first part of your Black History Month article, and we encountered this word, disenfranchisement, that we're going to look at a little more closely now and talk about ways to maybe figure out what it means using clues from the text and word parts. So we're going to write the word on our metacognitive reading log right here under unfamiliar words in the text. And the first thing we'll do is divide the word into syllables to help us make sure we're pronouncing it correctly, and look at how the word breaks up into smaller parts to help us figure out the meaning. So it's disenfranchisement. So it has 5 syllables. And it starts with this first syllable, which is dis, which is what's called a prefix, which is a syllable that comes at the beginning of a word that can impact the meaning. And so the prefix dis can help us kind of understand the meaning of this word. And the prefix dis should be familiar to us because we have heard plenty of other words that start with the prefix dis, like discomfort or disagree or dishonest, right? So that kind of gives us a clue of what the prefix dis would mean. It means not, right? Discomfort is something that is not comfortable. If you experience discomfort, you're not comfortable. Or if someone is dishonest, they're not honest. So this prefix dis means not, so that gives us a clue of what the word might mean. It's not enfranchisement. Okay? And then I want to go to the end of the word. The last syllable is ment, which is a suffix. And I bet you can guess that a suffix comes at the end of a word, a syllable at the end of a word that can, again, impact or change the meaning. So, and ment is a suffix that should be familiar, because we're familiar with words like engage, ment, or employ, ment. And so basically ment is when you get something. So you get engaged, it's an engagement. You get employed, it's employment. So you get disenfranchised, and it's disenfranchisement. So you're kind of getting an idea. So it's not something, not enfranchisement, and that means that you're not getting enfranchised, right? So that gives you kind of a clue. We can also look at the context of the word to give us some more information about what it might mean. So let's look at the sentence again. So the text says, from slavery to segregation and disenfranchisement, blacks have struggled perhaps more than any other racial group to assert both their rights and their identity. And so it looks like we're kind of listing the hardships that African Americans have experienced: slavery, segregation, disenfranchisement. So this is something that black people have not been able to get. Enfranchise. They have not been able to get this enfranchisement. That is a negative thing that has historically happened for black people. And the thing is, once you get a lot of practice in kind of using context clues and word parts to figure out what words mean, or kind of get a sense of what they mean, you don't necessarily have to go to the dictionary and take that time to look it up. Like, this is all part of that practice. We're going to do that today, so we can get a whole picture of the meaning of the word. But as you're practicing different strategies of acquiring new words and vocabulary, it's more efficient and realistic that, okay, every single word you encounter that you don't 100% know the definition of, you're not necessarily going to pull out a dictionary and look it up and then that's going to solve the problem. You want to practice using all of these skills. So you want to practice breaking the word apart, looking at the syllables, and using prefixes and suffixes to help you kind of figure out what the word means. And also looking at the context, like what's happening in the rest of the sentence to help you figure out what it means. So now we are going to look up the word on dictionary.com and make sure that we were right and get the full picture of the meaning of disenfranchisement. So we are going to look up the word disenfranchisement, and we decided earlier that it means not being able to get something, and the context was African American history. So in African American history, this word is referring to something that African Americans have not been able to get. So let's see what that is. So disenfranchise is to deprive a person of the right to vote or other rights of citizenship. So disenfranchisement is the result of African Americans being disenfranchised, not being able to have the right to vote or other rights of citizenship.